time for stories to start your morning, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve, starting with a heat check. It's been really hot lately up here in the Northeast. That's not important now. The Miami Heat taking down the Kings last night, 104-98. Duncan Robinson, impressive, finishing 5 of 8 from 3. And Jimmy Butler chipping in 9 points in 11 minutes. Nick, how big of a factor will the Heat be in the East?
They could be a massive factor. You've got, in potential, we'll see how the seedings fall, but let's say Miami's the 4, Philly's the 5. We know Milwaukee's going to be the 1. In the first round, you would have Jimmy Butler, one of Wild's many good friends in the NBA. Jimmy Butler against his old team, Philly. In the second round, Bam is, I believe, the single most equipped player in the entire league to guard Giannis. And I think people have forgotten, because of the restart, Broussard, Andre Iguodala's on this team. Not only will be a huge factor, but as far as veteran championship leadership, like Miami, it wouldn't shock me if they lose in the first round, but it wouldn't shock me if they're in the conference finals, because they present really interesting matchups for everyone they could play, Broussard.
They are dangerous. Now, I don't know if I'm willing to say they could actually reach the finals, but they certainly could spoil it for a few of the other teams people think are contenders. Look, they are 7-1 against Philadelphia, Toronto, and Milwaukee. 3-1 against Philly, 2-0 against the other two teams I mentioned. Now, Boston's beaten them twice, but outside of that, obviously they play well against the top teams in the East. Jimmy Butler has had a great year as a leader. He's versatile, does everything. Doesn't shoot the 3, but he does everything else. We know he's clutch. You mentioned Bam, Nick. That's a great point about him. And then they're shooting. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league, even though Bam and Butler don't shoot the 3. So Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, you got a good coach in their exposure with championship pedigree. They are going to be a problem. Goran Dragic, yes, they're going to be a problem.
You know what I'm buying? The Jimmy X Factor, Broussard. Did you see the Chris Haynes report that Jimmy got called on the whistleblower line, and when security went up to the hotel, they opened the door and Jimmy was in full workout gear, dribbling a basketball, drenched in sweat, while everybody else is out fishing and going on, Cinderella's castle.
Jimmy called that
Jimmy
on
Butler's
himself.
out there working.
Right.
Jimmy called that on himself.
Jimmy Butler's out there working out.
Just so that story would be out there. He called it on himself, so we would talk about it.
It's a good idea.
I love it.
It's a good idea. On to the new look Nuggets now. They unveiled their big lineup, which was anchored by 7'2" Bol, who dropped 16 points, 10 boards, 6 blocks in the win over the Wizards. Bol played so well he had a, quote, random drug test after the game. Broussard, what'd you make of the Nuggets' big lineup?
Look, it was nice to see. I wish it would be something like this on a regular basis, but obviously they only had 8 healthy players. They were missing 3 of their starting perimeter players in Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, and Will Barton. Those are their guards. So they kind of had to go big, but it was fun to watch. Jokic, the first 7-foot point guard we've ever seen. I loved it. They averaged 6'10" across the starting lineup. But we won't see a steady diet of this, unfortunately.
Wilds. Seeing Nikola Jokic, a point guard, it reminded me of a foot taller Khalid El-Amin out there. You don't often see a guy with that body type playing the point. And so, listen,
great pull by
I think what could be fun, and it could be a first-round matchup, is the Rockets' tiny person lineup against the Nuggets' giant person lineup. Daryl Morey tweeted about that a bit yesterday. I think the Rockets would run them up and down off the court. But listen, the Nuggets are going to have to do, call it creative things, because of the top teams in the West. They're the one without a true superstar. But I did like what I saw from Bol, and once they get Jamal Murray back, and the other guys, they'll be a dangerous-ish team.
I'll put an idea out there. This might be the death of small ball. This team is really tall, but put Ben Simmons on this team. Ben Simmons is tall, but plays small. Eventually, once all these tall guys like Bol, like Jokic, start being able to hit threes. You're like, why don't I got a guy who's 6'2" out here when I can get a guy who's 6'10" out here? Mike Malone called it the tallest team in NBA history. So I like this, and I think the small ball days are numbered. It's a theory. It's a half-baked idea.
The Mavericks team that started a starting lineup that averaged 7 feet was Sean Bradley. But close, Mike Malone. Take integrity demands I call you out on.
What's the median height? Sean Bradley throws the whole thing off.
On to the Rockets' plan now. Russell Westbrook returning to practice with Russ saying, quote, when I'm back to 100%, you will know. All right, Nick, what would a title mean for Russ's legacy after he puts that mask back
that
up
sounds like you're asking me about a list, Jenna. So here's the deal. You're talking about the top 50 players in NBA history. There is a glut of guards in the 31 to 39 range. So these following players are all in the top 40, but outside of the top 30. Allen Iverson, Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Walt Clyde Frazier, and Jason Kidd. They're top 40 players, not top 30 players. I would argue, Broussard, if the Rockets win the title this year, and Russ, in order for them to do that, Russ would have to be great. He leaps all of those guys.
Okay.
He leaps Iverson, he leaps Kidd, he leaps Nash, he leaps CP3, he leaps all of them. He has an MVP. He would, again, this is if they win the title. I think he vaults himself as, becomes the 31st greatest player in NBA history with a title.
That's not a ridiculous take. I'll give you that because, look, what I think it would do is the disrespect.
Congratulations.
No, that's love. That's love, Nick. The disrespect for Westbrook would stop. And I don't know if I've been listening to too much Colin Cowherd, but this guy is iconic, and yet people want to poo-poo his accomplishment. When he averages the triple-double for 3 seasons, it's easy to get him now. There's no bigs in the league. They shoot the three. They're long rebounds. LeBron could have done it if he wanted to. Nobody else has done what this guy has done. You're right, Nick. If you throw a championship on his legacy to go with the triple-double seasons, it's hard to deny him. People don't like him as much as they should, but I think you would not be able to deny him. I think he'd be above Iverson. Yes.
Jeez,
yes. He may already be.
He might be above Iverson now. If we're being honest, he might be above Iverson now.
And people blame, this would also stop, Nick. People blame him for Durant not having a ring and leaving OKC. That would stop too.
Correct.
All right, moving on to the Lake Show. LeBron and company taking on Luka and the Mavs tonight. Both teams making their bubble debut. Broussard, start with you. What are you looking for tonight from the Lakers?
Well, look, we know what LeBron's going to bring. He's looking like Kimbo Slice, by the way. But I'm looking forward to seeing this potluck of shooting guards they've got. KCP, Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook, Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith. You talk about dusting off Joakim Noah, Nick. How about J.R. Smith, your guy? I know he's been golfing and staying in shape. But come on, is he really going to give me something? That's what I want to see tonight.
Golfing and staying in shape.
J.R. Smith was the third best player, on a team that made the finals in 2018. Joakim Noah hadn't been in the playoffs since 2015. Enough with these comparisons. If we want to get a Joakim Noah counterpart for the Lakers, see if Big Z is available. LeBron's old buddy's Adrunas Ilgauskas. That'll at least be a fair fight. Dust him off from what he's been doing. Listen, I think you're going to see the Lakers experimenting with some lineups wilds. I also think because the Lakers have essentially locked up the 1 seed, that their scrimmages are going to continue into the restart. They're the 1 seed no matter what. So I don't think you're going to see a full-fledged Laker outings until the playoffs begin, Kevin.
Yeah, so do you think this could happen, Broussard? That this whole thing is it's not half speed. Let's say it's 80% speed. But a guy like Dion comes in, is like, well, this is my chance. I got to shine right now. Lights up the scrimmage, lights up these first 8 games, and plays himself into a spot.
Yeah, I mean, look, they need help. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Dion's got the edge that the Lakers want, too. He's got some edge about him. It's possible he could take a little bit away, though. from LeBron. Remember, they didn't fit in Cleveland, and Deion ended up getting moved out of there. So
Deion wants the ball.
That could be good or bad
star
for them.
Listen, everyone's focused. If you remember when the Lakers were doing the, the buyout before the season stopped, I wanted JR instead of Deion. I think if one of those two guys is going to be a contributor, I think it's more likely JR, who has had massive moments in the playoffs, than Deion, who we kind of know what he is in this league, Jenna. But Lakers play my Slovenian son tonight.
You talk like JR.